The head coach of the Ridgewood Generals is with us, John Slusser. Last night in West Lafayette, and the game heard here on FM 99.3, Ridgewood improved to 4-0 with a 35-0 win over Utica. And good morning, John. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, Mike.
Just looking at the box score, you scored a touchdown in the first quarter, one in the second quarter, two in the third, and once again in the fourth. Just looking at the box score, that looks like workmanlike fashion. You went out and got the job done last night. What were your overall impressions of your game last night?
I thought we did well again. Obviously, when you win 35-0, things are going your way, right? I thought we played really good on the defensive side of the football last night. We were real physical. Our kids did a great job adjusting in game and doing the things we asked them to do it in the game-wise. Thought our special teams were good. Offensively, we were pretty good last night moving the football again. We've been shooting ourselves with penalties. We had a lot of procedure calls last night. Just some little things that we really need to clean up. But, I mean, you can't complain. You're still putting up 35 points a night and doing things like that. So, we spread it around. I thought we had some different kids that haven't had big games yet for us, had big games last night. Obviously, Grant and Spark were both good again, but some other kids really helped out last night. And all in all, it was a really good night to be a General. It was a good crowd. It was a fun atmosphere and a good way to play.
Well, you're 4-0 on the season now. You haven't allowed a touchdown yet. You've outscored your opponents 164-2. So obviously, you've got another pretty good team there in West Lafayette. So, how do you keep that perspective with the league schedule about to begin? In other words, making sure that your team knows you got to do more than just show up, or is that even an issue?
I think it's always an issue when you have kids. We talk about that a lot. People. The thing we always battle, I think we battle this in every athletic sport that we do and stuff. You get some kids who get to play as freshmen or sophomores and some that play later on, and some teams win and some teams lose. And ultimately, people tell those kids they're pretty good and things like that, and they lose that work ethic, and you never see the improvement in them. And I told our kids last night, it's funny you asked that question. Last night we were talking, I said, people are now telling them they're going to, win and they're going to beat this team and beat that team. And I'm like, 2 months ago you were 6-4, 5-5 team, and you weren't very good. And this class has never been great. We were telling them all this, and you didn't believe that. So why would you believe now when they tell you you're going to win all the time? Because most people don't even know who we're playing. They've never seen them on tape or anything. And I said it's real easy to buy into that. So our goal is, to continue to be great at practice every day and try to get better. And, you do worry about stuff like that, and you worry about making sure your kids are still focused on what they want to do and where we want to go, because just like us, things happen every day, and sometimes you don't feel like doing things, and sometimes you forget who you are. That's my job as a coach, to make sure we don't.
Well, many, if not most, of your first 4 games, your opponents are teams that are struggling a bit. But looking forward into Inter-Valley Conference play, you've got 2 teams that are currently undefeated on your schedule, Indian Valley and Garaway. So do you mention that? Do you bring that up when you try to help your kids keep the perspective? Last night we were talking about I was talking about this with some other reporter or talk show, whatever we were doing last night. Our league's just so good. You honestly have a chance. I'm not saying this will happen, but you have the chance right now. I mean, Drew Pasteur has 3 of us ranked in Division 4. Indian Valley is number 1 in their region, so they are projected to make the Final 4 in the state of Ohio. Garaway is number 2, so they're projected to have a chance to be in the Final 4 in Division 5, and we're number 1 in our thing. We're projected to be in the Final 4 in Division 6. So you could have 3 teams from a 6-team league in the Final 4 in the state of Ohio, and that's pretty unprecedented besides the MAC out west. So our league right now has got it going, and you've got a really good Division 4, really good Division 5, and a really good Division 6 team. So we're all going to play each other, and hopefully we can hold our own against those. But they're coming up. Like you said, we got big games coming up, and they're going to be tough.
Well, and again, the point there is that your most competitive games, toughest games still ahead of you. What about this time of the season when injuries a lot of times start to pile up? What about the health of your team?
We battle like everybody else. Seth got hurt the first game of the year against Coshocton. Luckily, it wasn't too serious. He missed one game. He's been back, and boy, he played tremendous last night. So, that's good. We had Matt Humphrey get a little banged up last night. Hopefully, he's all right. So far, it's good news, but you never know. And so, listen, everybody battles that. No teams. The word I'm looking for, safe from injury, I guess, throughout the season. So you worry about the next guys up. You always have guys ready. Last night we had a guy go down with cramps. We had an injury to Matt. So we were playing 2 or 3 deep in the secondary last night. So it happens. You go on. My coaches do a really good job of having other guys ready to play. I mean, if you come to our practice, there's always 18 or 20 guys rotating in at any time. So we do a good job of keeping guys active, and it pays off for nights like last night.
Well, again, some competitive games ahead of you, but next week it is Strasburg, which it's probably fair to say that it's not the toughest opponent on your schedule, not one that you have circled. So what is the approach going into Strasburg? Either coaching against that complacency again, or what Strasburg does well. What do you know about Strasburg?
I don't know a lot about them. I would say the same as you. I don't think they're going to present us with a great challenge. But the thing being this, you're at the halfway point. We're at week 5 now, so you're about halfway through the season here. You're playing every day to get better for that end of the year. If our goal is to be a team that makes a run in the playoffs, you got to practice, and you got to practice every day, and you got to be working on a goal. It's easy to lose sight, like you said, like you're playing Strasburg this week or you're playing whoever this week. That doesn't matter. We're playing against each other. We're trying to get better and get better at what we're doing, so we're ready for whenever we have to play a game that will push us.
4-0, another great start for your Ridgewood Generals, and again, off to a terrific start. And appreciate your time each week, John, on the Football Saturday program, and looking forward to speaking with you next week.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
You too. That is John Slusser, the head coach of the Ridgewood Generals. We have more to come on the Football Saturday program. We have on the phone Steve Smith, the head coach of the Coshocton Redskins. Now, last night on the road, Coshocton fell to John Glenn 49-14 to fall to 0-4 on the season. And first of all, good morning, Coach. Thank you as always for being with us today.
Thank you, Mike.
Let's start with this. A little bit of offense. You scored 14 points last night. So can you tell us a little about the offensive efforts and how you scored?
So we had a nice drive in the first half. We were able to run some clock and move the ball methodically down the field. It was a mixture of run and play action passes. We had a nice drive. We got it to 21-7 there in the second quarter. They got the ball back, and we were able to get a stop on fourth down, and, that was a big point in the game where we were able to make it, could have made it a game, because we had the ball coming out in the second half. But fortunately, we turned it over on the next drive, and they were able to punch it in right before halftime.
So 21-7, the halftime score, scored a couple of touchdowns. It sounds like the game perhaps more competitive than the score might indicate. But I understand that your team gave a spirited performance last night.
Yeah, the kids played hard. We were missing 6 starters last night, and when you play a school that's 2 divisions bigger than you, that's never a recipe for success. So, we had a lot of young players on the field. At one point, we had 8 sophomores on the field last night. So, they gave great effort last night, and they battled all the way through, all 4 quarters.
Missing 6 starters last night. This is the time of the season where those injuries start to pile up. Overall, how would you characterize the injuries, the health of your team right now?
This is the most banged up I've seen us in a long time. I've been here a long time, and We just can't. We have seasons like this where you have a hard time overcoming it, and it just comes in waves. So, our main focus the next upcoming weeks is just to try to get healthy and get, our older players back out on the field.
Of all the injuries that you're dealing with, are most of them ones that give it a week or two and they'll be back on the field, or any of them going to keep your guys out for a few games or maybe the rest of the season? Do you have any of those types of injuries?
I don't think any of them are season-ending injuries. We have several players that are in concussion protocol. We have some other stuff, some nagging injuries that has kept some kids out for 3 weeks now. So, nothing that requires surgery and no broken bones, but we're definitely banged up.
Well, if there's any silver lining to a situation like that, and a game like that, you do get you've got some players banged up, but that means that some of the less experienced players are going to get some quality playing time. How's that playing out? Do you like what you're seeing?
Yeah. Like I said, I love the competitive spirit that our younger players are showing on the field. They didn't back down. That's tough. Going in an away environment against a school that's a lot bigger than you. That was our big school crossover. It's an intimidating environment, and they didn't back down at all. They competed all night.
Now, John Glenn, traditionally, they've got a pretty good football program consistently from year in, year out. Next week, you're on the road at Maysville. Maysville is 1-3. They fell to Sheridan last night, 44-0. What do you know about Maysville?
And Craig Clark's their head coach, and Maysville's a mirror of what we've done for years, and they got some size up front. They do a lot of similar things that we do. Next week's about seeing who we can get back out on the field and driving down to Maysville focused and ready to play a football game.
Okay, very good. Well, we will certainly look forward to that next week. And as always, Coach, I want to thank you for spending some time with us here on Football Saturday.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike.
Steve Smith, the head coach of the Coshocton Redskins. So we have more to come on the Football Saturday program. We have on the phone Thom, the head coach of the Riverview Black Bears. And last night at Don Rushing Stadium, Philo beat Riverview 61-0. And, Coach, there's no way around it. The score not pretty last night, but we do want to remind folks that you are starting freshman, and you have you're oftentimes shorthanded.
Again, good morning, Mike. And yes, we are. That's not an excuse. It's just the reality of it. Our league has really kind of put us in a tough situation here, being that we're the third small school of boys in the league. And we're playing the upper division of the MPL. So yes, we start a ton of freshmen and sophomores, and our kids are playing hard, and getting better. I can't help it when one of their kids just outruns us. Nothing we can do about it, and we're just going to get better.
Well, last week versus Tuslaw, we had a lot of good things to talk about. You scored a TD during competitive time. You played a spirited game for 4 quarters. You remember, I'm paraphrasing, but you made a comment that it was the best game you played in a long time. Given that perspective, how would you characterize last night's effort?
Well, again, our kids are very resilient, and we compete and play hard all the time. The biggest difference between last week and this week was the size of our opponent. Philo is one of the biggest teams I've seen in a long time, physically sized. Their defensive line is massive, and it's hard to move, and it's hard to get around because then they have athletes behind it. So we still did a lot of good things. It's just that the holes were not as big this week because instead of moving a 180-pound kid, we were trying to move a 340, 350-pound kid.
Not as much space between the guys on the line then. Okay. So now next week you're hosting, or you're playing West Muskingum. They're 2-2. Do you know anything about West Muskingum at this point? Anything you can tell us?
No, I've not even looked at the film yet on them. Again, just like our first 4 opponents, I mean, they're a very good football team. They've got a good record. They've played very good teams. And so, people look at our schedule and the records of the teams that we've played. Ridgewood and Garaway 4-0, Philo, Tussalo now 2-2. And I think West Dem, are they 3-1 or 2-2? So, it just keeps adding on.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for spending some time with us and small steps forward. You guys are playing hard as you continue to build that team. Looking forward to talking to you next week, Coach.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
That is Thom Lesecki, the head coach of the Riverview Black Bears. We have more to come on the Football Saturday program.